I'm starting with feet today because we did bones last time, but I just want to go over again certain things, and because this is probably the most important thing to start with people when they come and see you, because everything's starting to change with the foot. Now, there are actually, anatomically, in terms of bones, 2 feet in 1 foot. 2 feet in 1 foot. And if you look at this model, is a model of artist. This is from Emily Carr. You can't really see it much on it because it's fused. But you could definitely see that there is a difference between 3 bones coming together and into the arch. And the 3 toes, and 2 toes coming together towards the heel. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So this is a more of a advancer version of this, and yet it's not even. This one is not as good because you don't have wires in a real foot, right? So when I turn this way, you could see that there is a 1 bone here that connects the 3 toes, the first 3 toes. Mm-hmm. You can see that. Mm-hmm. So these first 3 toes go into the arch, which is here, and the last 2 toes go into the heel. So if you turn it around, we actually have a total difference in here. So if there is no wires and if there is no bolts in here, you would actually be able to separate this. You would actually feel a complete separation between the arch foot and the heel foot. So to work with somebody just to wake up this difference is really big, because then they're going to find their foot for the first time, and then everything from the bottom is going to start to come up. When you're in a certain position, I would like you to have that capacity to separate and differentiate the arch foot and the heel foot. But also what you're going to do today, it's to wake up this bone, which is the ankle bone, known as an ankle bone, which is the talus bone. So this bone, it's like sort of like a fist on the bottom of the leg bones that are helping to rotate the foot in this direction. So if there is a lack of mobility in the talus bone, then eventually what happens is that your Achilles and your calves are getting very tight, and they're starting to compensate for the mobility of the foot. So eventually what happens is the pronation or supination. So anything in the foot starts to kind of turn. You lost your arches by the end. So people that are wearing one of those shoes for winter that have that are closed up to here, and the ankle doesn't have the capacity to move, like blindstones, old type of blindstones, when they don't have this side opening, they have feet problems. They have feet problems. They have very tight calves. So it's very important that you open this whole area. So how are you going to do this? You're going to now massage your foot from the big first 2 toes and into the arch. You see the connection? Maybe this shows that we have a very close connection with our bird ancestors. Because we at some point we had these, and it's almost like in evolution.
Yeah,
These
something that was added.
Something that was added later, yeah. It's also important to see that if you look at the foot like this, unless you're totally collapsing, you actually have to be on in the heel. Heel is actually quite onto the side. So you would have to think of, when I'm stepping down, if I'm stepping too far on the side, I will be collapsing on one side of the foot. If I'm stepping too far in the middle and not too far in the middle of the foot, I'll be collapsing in the front, right? So the importance of the talus mobility is essential for the arches, and the step needs to be right in that part where the inner part of the heel meets the talus, because that is this line of force that goes down through the bones, down through the bones, right here.
Yeah, like
That's
the center of gravity kind of.
Center, exactly, like center of gravity when you step has to come on the inner part of the heel, not the center of the heel or the inner part of outer part. So anything that you ever tell people to stay in any position for a long time, you got to make sure that these feet are in the neutral space, because how they are, it's going to reflect on everything that's happening in the rest of the body. So imagine a mind like this in 20 minutes, right? It's nice, it's a restorative pose, but still, you don't want to be in this position for this long. That's the reason why in this book, when she has all these poses that are with feet without the wall, you see, all of this floppiness. You're not going to tolerate that. You're going to be so precise. Let me find even better one. And you will see in this book there's so few restorative, very few restorative poses. For example, this one.
Oh yeah.
Because, I mean, this person is okay, but imagine if the person is not in a space of alignment, and if his or she's foot is completely...
Shortening the calf.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so you don't want to be having all those... these are all things that can just ripple through and here as well.
I'm sorry.
No. Not good to be floppy anywhere with the endpoints.
That's why you put the bag.
That's why I put the sandbag, that's why I put a block.
So you always should be like in some sort of flex?
Always should be in a little bit of flexion, but also a little bit of flexion, but also a little bit of a pointing. So you have a plantar flexion and you have a dorsal flexion. So this is dorsal flexion, this is plantar flexion. So it's not all the way into plantar, because that's like ballerina foot. I'm really overstretching my front. This is plantar flexion. I'm really overstretching my back. It should be like this, like if you look at the baby's foot, the baby's foot totally looks like this, or orangutan foot looks like this. Now this is a lot of years of working with feet, and I'm still working with it. But yes, you're right, Christine, the talus bone helps here, but also what helps is opening eventually of this part of the foot. Yeah. But this will happen when the...
And make sure they're equal weight on both sides, because, even when it's like this, because if it's not, then it can go one way or the other.
Exactly.
Right, so it's important.
So it has to be in the middle. Has to be in the middle, and has to be
I support it.
always a little bit of lift in this joint. One rule in the body is that you don't want to lean in a joint. You don't want to ever put weight in a joint. Joint is not supposed to be carrying any weight, and yet in so many poses, including in here, the other book.
Can I just ask a question? So where is the weight supported there on the foot?
The weight should be supported in the widest part of the foot, which is toes and metatarsals. That's the widest part of the foot.
So you're saying that we should never sit like this then?
Never.
Ah.
Never, ever.
That's how we do all the time.
Well,
Yes,
you
that's
sit
what
like
you-
that.
yeah,
I mean, you usually sit like that,
Or you
but
put a
if you
block.
really want to be precise and knowing how you're bringing your awareness into your body all the time, you're going to be aware of how you're...
Because it feels so good, it feels like I'm stretching that
Can you do
part.
that though? Though this is okay, because you're not putting the pressure.
Yeah, but try it the other way around, and you're going to find that if you're very comfortable in this position,
Yeah.
then you're likely
like this?
uncomfortable in the other. No, lifting up. No. The toes are away. So you see, lots of position in this book has this. I mean,
She's flopping her feet.
she's flopping her feet. So what you're saying to me is, I can sit like this is comfortable, yes.
Yeah.
But this is where you're stretching the inner part of the foot, but you want to be able to stretch the outer part of the foot as well.
So you mean with the ankles up? Yes.
Yeah, you see, so that's much harder for you. So usually if people are very comfortable in one position, then they're going to just be in there which is comfortable. So they're not going to go what is uncomfortable. But I'm inviting you to do it, and then as you're sitting, if you're a meditator, if you're sitting a lot, or then finding this position of the foot is essential. And watch how the heels are kind of coming closer together, so there is not this happening. So if I'm leaning, this will happen. You see, as soon as this happens, this translates into the bones, into my knees, and into my hips. So you can tell this heel goes way out more, which is the sign that this hip has been in the same position. So for me to fix anything, I have to do this. Otherwise, even fixing here, if I'm not essentially working with my feet, is not going to happen. So regardless of us doing restorative or yin, I see this in yin constantly. It's very important to attend, and that's a part of the tensegrity. You can use your mat, you can use whatever. You see this is too low, so I would just go it a little bit. But just like any prop, I don't want to overuse it, because if I overuse it, I need it all the time. I'm only using it to find this in myself, because eventually I want to feel very bouncy in here, so this can translate to the rest, so it's not going out. We're talking about the importance of the feet.